Hey guys, this is Thursday's math notes. I know it says Wednesday, but it's for Thursday. All right, this is a back to basics type of review for rounding. By the time we get through with this worksheet, it's front and back. You should be able to use place value understanding to round decimals to any place. Any place. All right, and here are the directions. Number one is you're going to circle the digit that you are rounding to. Underline the digit to the right. If the underlying digit is 5 or more, round up. If not, keep it the same. The rest of the digits become zeros. So with this first one, and this is the important part that we need to pay attention to, what are you rounding to? For this one, you are rounding to the 10th place. So like the directions say, you circle what you're rounding. And I'm rounding to the 10th place. Now I'm going to look to its neighbor. If it's 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. So 8 is more than 5. So that means this right here in the tens place gets bumped up one number. So the number after 5 is 6. So your new number is 27 and 600 thousandths because they want us to fill the rest of these spots in with the zeros. All right, now this next one we're doing to the nearest hundredths. Okay, you circle the 4. We're looking to its neighbor, which is a 2. 2 is less than halfway. So the 4 gets to stay a 4. So you would write down 3 and 640 thousandths. Okay, next one. 63 and 539 thousandths. Now we're rounding to the nearest whole number. Now remember, your whole number is the number to the left of the decimal. That is your whole number. That's a whole thing, not part, not a fraction. That's the whole thing. Now, so 63 and 539 thousandths. All right, we are looking for the whole number. So your whole number would be your 3 because that's the one nearest to the number we're going to be rounding with. And it's a 5. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that the 5's in the middle. That is true. But when you have a 5, you round up. So with the 5 being, 5 or more, that 3 becomes a 4. So your answer would be 64 and 0, or you could have just written, for me, just 64. Okay. Same thing here again. We are going to go to the nearest 10th and the 100th, 10th, whole number. I just highlight it so I know what I'm doing. You don't have to. All right, 36 and 735 thousandths. Okay, and I'm rounding to the nearest 10th. So I've circled the 10th, the number in the 10th place, which is a 7. I'm looking to its neighbor, which is a 3. 3 is less than halfway, so the 7 stays the same. So 36 and 700 thousandths. Okay, next number, I'm rounding to the nearest hundredths. All right, I'm sorry, I got interrupted. Okay, so I have 7 and 568 thousandths. We are rounding to the nearest hundredths. So we're going to circle the hundredths number and look to its neighbor, which is an 8. The 8 is greater than 5, so the 6 gets bumped up. So the number is 7 and 570 thousandths. Okay, 19 and 643 thousandths, rounded to the nearest tenth. The number in the tenths place is the 6. Its neighbor is the 4. So 4 is less than 5, so the 6 gets to stay the same. So 19 and 600 thousandths. Okay, whole number. We have 5 and 872 thousandths. All right, your 5, its neighbor is an 8. 8 is greater than 5, so that 5 gets to bump up to a 6. Wasn't that? No, 64. Okay, sorry. All right, the last one is to the nearest hundredths. We have 67 and 934 thousandths. Okay, our 3 is in the hundredths place. The 4 is beside it in the thousandths place. 4 is less than 5, so the 3 stays the same. 67 and 930 thousandths. Okay, that was a real quick, easy review before we get to today's lesson. Okay, we are rounding decimals. When we round decimals, there's multiple ways to do it to show your work. So here are a few ways to show it. So here is the problem. Maura has a shelf that is 2 and 97 meters long. She is buying craft boxes that are 273 thousandths meters long. Maura wants to round these numbers to the nearest tenth to estimate how many boxes will fit on the shelf, about how many boxes will fit on the shelf. Okay, and so right here on the model, it says place 273 thousandths on the number line to see its relationship to the nearest tenth. So as you can see right here, this is our number line. Our number line, they actually broke it down. So don't let the fact that, like these numbers right here are 0.2 and then 0.3. Just put a 0 on it, and then you have the same number of digits as right there. So as I told my class today, we have to know how much each tally mark is worth. So 20 to 5, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so each one of these would be worth 1/100th. Okay, so we're going to go here. All right, so, and then you're like, well, that has 3 digits. Well, guess what? We can put a 0 right here. So in between 270 thousandths and 280 thousandths. So we're going to put the 273 right there where it's rounded. Now this is your halfway mark, okay? So we're going to the nearest tenths. Tenths, okay? Your tenths, we're dealing with the 2 tenths and the 3 tenths, okay? Is 273 thousandths closer to 2 tenths or 3 tenths? Which one's it closer to? That is correct. It is closer to 3 tenths. So 0.273 is more than halfway from 2 tenths to 3 tenths. So it is closer to 3 tenths. So you would actually round it to 3 tenths. Now we're going to use another form to compare the other number. So if I said, hey, and I need you to show me how you're going to compare these numbers. A lot of people, it just depends on how your brain works. They use different things. So they actually used a number line, not a number line, I'm sorry, a place value chart. Now, the number that we are going to be dealing with is 290. Oh my word, I'm so sorry. Pretend I didn't do that. Okay, the number we're dealing with is 2 and 97 hundredths. Okay, we're doing to the nearest tenth. So you have 2.9 and 3.0. Okay, Here's your halfway point. The 95 is halfway because if you just looked at it, this could be 90 and this could just be your 100. What's in between 90 and 100? 95. Okay. So the 2 and 97 hundredths, is it closer to the 290 or the 300 or 3.00? Very good. It's closer to the 3.0. Okay. So we rounded those. Okay. Let's see. It says on the number line model, how is the halfway point between the two nearby tenths shown? Well, if you look right here, the halfway point is shown as 25 hundredths. So that's all we have to write. So let's say the halfway point is shown as 0.25, which is between 0.2 and 0.3. If the video is lagging, I do apologize. I'm having to use the Chromebook because the internet is not being our friend right now at school. So I do apologize. Okay, in the chart, how is the halfway point between the two tenths? Okay, the halfway point is circled and shown as 2.95. Okay. To the nearest tenth, how long is the shelf? Okay, the shelf. The shelf was 2.97 meters long. So when we rounded that, it was 3.0 meters. All right. The craft boxes, which were 0.273, rounded to 0.3 meters. Now, how many boxes will fit onto the shelves? So if we rounded and we have 3 as a whole number, and then right here we have 3/10, think about the relationship between the two. What do I have to do? Divided by blank gives me this. What would I have to divide 3 by to get 3/10? Look at how the decimal moved. It moved to the left. How many times? Once. So remember, if we divide by a certain number and we're moving it one time, that means you divided by 10. Very good. So about how many boxes? 10 boxes, or let's say about 10 boxes. And your reasoning would be 3.0 divided by 10 equals 0.3. Okay. 13, you can use the digit to the right of the place value you want to round to tell if you should round up or down. You can use the digit to the right of the place you want to round to tell you, to tell if you should round up or down, explain how. Okay, well, it's very easy. If that number is 5 or more, the number increases. If it is 4 or less, it stays the same. All right, describe how each model can help you. Now, this is a you thing. It's not a me. This is something that you will need to answer on your own. How can the number line and the place value chart help you? Just think about it. How can that help you visually? I want you to think. Okay, how could that help you visually? Pause the video if you need to and write out your answer. All right, when a number is exactly halfway between the nearest tenth, you round up. Round 25 hundredths to the nearest tenth. So if we wrote it down, okay, we're looking for the tenth place. We go to its neighbor, which is a 5. 5 or more, remember, we raise the score. So the 2 turns into 3. Okay, and you can put that 0 right there. All right, let's try it. Use what you've learned about rounding decimals to solve the problems. Show your work on a separate sheet of paper. We're going to just do it over here to the side. A dropper holds 0.813 or 813 thousandths milliliter of fluid. What is the amount rounded to the nearest hundredths? Okay, 0.813. First, you have to find the number in the hundredths place, which is my 1. And then I'm going to look at my neighbor, which is a 3. 3 is less than 5. So the 1 gets to stay the same. So 0.810, 810 thousandths. Wait. No, that's right. Okay, at the end of each month, Belinda earns 24 thousandths for every dollar in her savings account. Round to the nearest hundredths to show about how many cents she's earned for every dollar. Same thing. We're doing the hundredths place. Look to the neighbor. It's 4. Remember, 4 or less. Let it rest. So she is earning about 2 cents per every dollar. All right, so that was Thursday's lesson. So for the practice and problem solving, you're going to be working with some number lines, filling those in, and answering some questions for me. And then you're going to do your fluency and your drills. So that is Thursday's work. We'll talk to y'all later. See ya.